Good evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Friday, September 22, 2023. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. Guyana's new economy will be built on innovation and high-skilled jobs, says President Ali. Full investigation into reduction of audit oil costs, JAGDEO assures. More medical help would not have reduced Madia fire's death toll, says Burn Care Unit Head. Fire continues to burn at New Amsterdam DUMPSITE. Schools, prison, hospital affected, and father of one killed in hit-and-run accident at COLDINGEN. Now for the news in detail. While addressing members of the Guyanese diaspora in New York, President Dr. Irfan Ali outlined his vision for a new Guyana by the year 2030, one that is advanced in all aspects. Pooja Rambaran reports that President Ali envisions a new Guyana that is technologically and scientifically advanced.
We are building an economy that is different, one that will be built on innovation, research and development, scientific advancement, and high-end, high-scale, high-value jobs. That is the type of economy we are building.
That was President Dr. Irfan Ali addressing a diaspora engagement held in Queens, New York on Thursday evening. He assured the diaspora that the government is guided by a One Guyana concept, which ensures every single Guyanese bears the fruits of development. According to the head of state, his vision is to build a Guyana that is way ahead of its time in the next 7 years.
In creating an economy and a country that is ahead of time, one that is sustainable, resilient, strong, viable, and competitive, but importantly, one in which Guyana will present global leadership on energy, food, and climate. We are building a country in the next 7 years that will be far ahead of time. Aware of the fact that we may be 30 years behind the rest of the world as I speak to you. But by 2030, we have to be in front of the rest of the world. And that is the agenda we set ourselves.
Moreover, he reminded that Guyana's prosperity translates to prosperity in the region as well.
Just imagine that in another 7 years, it will be long before that, you'll be able to drive from French Guyana all the way to Brazil, up to Colombia, with the type of infrastructure investment that we're putting in. We're supporting an investment that will see the dream of integral and integrated infrastructure with Brazil completed, with a deep water port and a highway system to support the export of commodities out of northern Brazil, creating a whole new infrastructure and logistics hub through Guyana.
President Ali also detailed that Guyana's economy is being diversified so that the country can be positioned as a leader in the regional and global landscapes. Pooja Rambaran for the Evening News.
Vice President Dr. JAGDEO has stated that there will be a full investigation into the unauthorized engagement between staff of the Natural Resources Ministry and ExxonMobil Guyana, which resulted in the disputed US $214 million cost oil claim being reduced to just $3 million US. Vanu Manikchand has the details.
I spoke with President Ali, and the minister I agree that there should be a full investigation of this matter, and the minister still has to give a full report to the cabinet on what took place.
That was Vice President JAGDEO during a press conference on Thursday. Following an audit on the cost oil expenses, the Guyana Revenue Authority had supported the US $214 million disputed sum. This figure was initially flagged in 2019 by British firm IHS Markit when it did an audit of ExxonMobil's cost oil expenses racked up between 1999 and 2017 from its operations in Guyana. However, staff from the Ministry of Natural Resources Petroleum Department had reportedly engaged the U.S. oil company and reduced this figure to US $11 million and then subsequently to US $3 million. JAGDEO on Thursday noted that government was under the impression the reduced figure was submitted by GRA, the technical body in charge of auditing the cost oil claims.
Somebody has to give explanations how they engage with Exxon after this, and I believe also that we have to have a policy where people who, at the technical level particularly, who engage with the oil and gas companies or executives, that they must seek the explicit clearance from the ministry, and they must report back on the nature of every engagement, almost a disclosure policy.
According to the Vice President, while Natural Resources Minister Vikram Bharat has direct oversight, he was unaware of the engagement between the ministry staff and the oil company.
As the minister said, he didn't know about it. It took place without his explicit or implicit agreement. I would want to await the full report from the minister to the cabinet, which will then the ministry would have to disclose to the public too. At that point in time, then we'd be able to identify who all the people are, who did this unauthorized contact with Exxon, and when it took place.
JAGDEO noted that while the entire auditing process of the cost oil claims is not yet completed, government will not be accepting any documents that were sent by ExxonMobil after GRA wrapped its probe in August.
We don't know what they sent, and I'm not really interested in it, because that could be sent and claim that arbitration should we go there. I'm more interested in who authorized this and why this contact after the GRA had said we're closing it.
Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manik-Chand.
Calling it the most tragic event in his career, head of the burn care unit of the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, Dr. Shalindra Rajkumar, has said he believes that increased medical human resources could not have decreased the death toll on the night of the Madia dormitory fire occurred. Rupasi Narayan attended day 2 of the public hearings of the Commission of Inquiry into the Madia tragedy and filed this report.
The second public hearing of the Commission of Inquiry to probe the events of the Madia dormitory fire commenced on Friday with the testimony of the burn and plastic surgery specialist who recounted his role as a first responder. Dr. Shalendra Rajkumar told the Commission that of the 50 girls who required hospital care, only one succumbed to her condition, despite every effort made to transfer her to the GPHC for advanced care.
No, to be honest, the persons who died in the fire, so medical personnel would not have helped there. And of the patients who made it to hospital, they all went home save for one patient who died. So there was a total, if we look back at the numbers, there were about 15 patients who needed hospital care. There was about 50 students in total who actually was reviewed, and only of that number, one person died. And additionally, that person was, intubated and brought out on the first flight, the one that died. So I think a lot of effort was made to get her to where she should have, where she is needed. And I don't think much more medical help would have reduced the mortality.
Giving an assessment of medical resources on the ground, the Commissioner was told that doctors and auxiliary staffers on site did the best they could in such tense circumstances where there was a sense of overwhelmingness. However, Dr. Rajkumar said additional resources could have been deployed to relieve those who were working for long hours.
I think they were overwhelmed. It was a lot more than they were accustomed to or they were prepared for. But I must say that with them being limited in their numbers and their resources, they did a pretty good job as dealing with the situation. And I think it was a difficult situation, but I think they did well. If you ask me, I think they did the best they could with whatever they had. Medical help would for sure have helped because the staff was overwhelmed. They were asked to do like shifts. They were 24 hours without sleep. And that's where additional help would have, been of benefit.
Arriving just after 3 hours at the chaotic Madia airstrip on May 22nd, Dr. Rajkumar led a team over to the Madia hospital that morning. 3 children were identified as severe cases, according to Dr. Rajkumar. The first was experiencing an altered state of consciousness and on the verge of a comatose. Doctors suspected that she was suffering from carbon monoxide poisoning.
We suspected that her condition would have been due to carbon monoxide poisoning. Based on the history of her being exposed to smoke, and she had to inhale the burnt material that was coming in the fire. And she did not have any significant burn to render her in that state of altered consciousness. So the highest diagnosis on that list would be that she was exposed to carbon monoxide, which would have depressed her mental state to that extent.
This was the 20th Madia victim who succumbed to her injuries at the Georgetown Public Hospital while under intensive care several days later. Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
5 days later, and the fire continues to burn at the New Amsterdam dump site, posing challenges to residents in the area, as well as the prison, hospital, and schools. Our Berbice correspondent, Andrew Carmichael, reports that at least 2 schools have today been forced to send students home.
It was on Monday that flames were seen coming from the municipal dump site situated at Esplanade in New Amsterdam. Several sections of the town were covered with smoke, and on Wednesday, Mayor Wainwright McIntosh expressed concerns that it was an environmental hazard. Today, Friday, the fire continues to burn, causing thick black smoke to cover the surrounding atmosphere. Firefighters on Thursday took trench water and for hours tried to douse the burning dump site. As they closed off, a heavy downpour added to their efforts. However, before midnight, the firefighters were back at the scene as thick smoke obscured visibility to road users and created health concerns for some residents living nearby. Regional Commander Senior Superintendent Shiv Prasad Bacchus told the Evening News that the police were called out to provide additional security around and in the vicinity of the New Amsterdam prison as thick smoke invaded the correctional facility, which houses hundreds of inmates. Divisional Fire Officer Kirtland Harry spoke with this newscast on the department's efforts to get the situation back to normalcy.
The showers that came last night hasn't did anything, really. So presently now we're using open source, and that's what helping us a great lot. Right now we try to accomplish the heavy smoke that's eliminating right now to get it down as much as possible, because that is what's affecting the prisoners, hospitals, schools, and such like.
Assistance to fight has been coming from the Rose Hall Sugar Estate Fire Department, the Region 6 Administration, and the Mayor and Town Council. Harry says of recent the fire department in Berbice, which consists of 4 stations, has had to respond to about 6 to 10 calls per day. For this year, the department has had to respond to more than 450 fires in Berbice. Many of these fires in recent times are grass fires.
We've been saying all the way that we're trying to let people know during this period, desist from lighting fires in open areas, parapets, and such like. But people still continue to do the same, and there's not much we can do about it until we get a call. We respond and do our job.
Sources close to the fire department are of the view that it may take several days before the fire comes under control. Meanwhile, the dump site has been closed since Monday. For the Evening News, Andrew Carmichael.
Coming up, Norton calls for CRAM's resignation but later changes position, and Rose Hall Town celebrating 53rd anniversary. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
visit us on Waterloo Street. John Lewis Styles.
The biggest party in sport is back. CPL returns with more action than ever before.
Are you kidding me? Olé!
Watch the biggest names in cricket battle it out in the race for glory.
Brilliantly! Celebrate some more!
Get your tickets now at cplt20.com or at the box office. Join the party. Experience cricket played louder.
Superbet, your best bet. Win with Superbet. With many products to choose from, winning can be endless. Visit an agent near you or www.superbet.gy to play your favorite games. Must be 18 years and older. Terms and conditions apply. Play responsibly.
Moving, lifting, or bending, whatever the job, we at Sylvie's Variety Store have the right tools to make it happen. Pallet jacks and hand trucks for bonds and industrial sites, easy pickup and convenient maneuvers. Chain hoist from Roughneck and Northern Industrial, the perfect solution to lifting heavy objects. And then there's the 12-ton and 16-ton hydraulic pipe benders from 1/2 to 2 inch. We also stock the shop press machine from Northern Industrial. Sylvie's Variety Store stocks the tools to make it happen.
Guyana's oil industry has been developing at an unprecedented pace, and monitoring its progress and operations are crucial to the country's development. On board each floating production, storage, and offloading vessel are personnel from the Environmental Protection Agency (EPA), the Guyana Revenue Authority, and the Bureau of Standards to provide regulatory oversight of production. While onshore, the EPA is also able to conduct real-time monitoring that oversees production numbers, gas levels, and power generation with the support of Maxar technologies and services. These are regulatory measures in place to ensure the safe production of oil.
Welcome back. You're watching the evening news. A hit-and-run accident this morning claimed the life of 25-year-old truck driver Adzel Innes. The accident occurred along the COLDINGEN Public Road, East Coast Demerara, at around 4:30. Police said Innes, a resident of Burma Housing Scheme in Maikoni and a father of one, was driving his truck proceeding east along the northern side of the public road when he stopped at the Chico Ramas gas station in COLDINGEN. He then exited the motor lorry GAC 1443, and in so doing he was struck down by a Toyota Fielder wagon. Whereas the driver of the wagon fled the scene in that vehicle, Innes was later transported to the Georgetown Public Hospital but was pronounced dead on arrival. Efforts are underway to locate the driver, though his identity and the car's registration number remain unknown. Opposition leader Aubrey Norton on Thursday called on the chairman of Region 4, Daniel Siram, to do the decent thing and step down from his public post in light of domestic violence allegations leveled against him. However, in this Vanu Manichand report, you will hear that Norton later backtracked on his statement, saying that the police should deal with the matter. Here are the details.
Region 4 Chairman Daniel Siram, who is also an executive member of the People's National Congress Reform (PNCR), is being accused of assaulting his wife and brandishing his firearm during a confrontation in the wee hours of Monday. Both Siram and his wife are currently on station bail, with the Director of Public Prosecutions advising that he be charged. This is not the first time the Region 4 chairman has been involved in such a matter. As such, during his weekly press conference on Thursday, opposition leader Aubrey Norton, who is also the PNCR leader, was questioned about the matter and clearly stated his position.
As it relates to the resignation, I think Daniel Siram understands the nature of what has happened. It is true that it is not the first time, and I will leave it to him to do the decent thing. The opposition does not condone violence of any kind. Worse, so domestic violence. We are a party in which there are a lot of women, and we oppose vehemently any attempt whatsoever to embarrass, assault, or do anything to women. I want to make that clear.
However, on Thursday evening, the opposition leader was quoted by Demerara Waves recanting his position on the matter. He said his choice of language during the press conference was bad. Norton said too the matter is an allegation and that they will await the outcome after the police do their work. Meanwhile, General Secretary of the governing People's Progressive Party, Civic Bart JAGDEO, weighing in on the issue, has called out several civil society groups for their selective activism, particularly their silence on this matter.
It seems as though in this country that a group of people who have very limited, if any, credibility whatsoever, the Red Thread, the GHRA, Simona Brooms now, I don't see them protesting in front of his office or his home. But you recall the other issues with Dharmlal, although he hadn't even been charged as yet. They were out there protesting and issuing statements, etc. So we try not, because he is an opposition figure, we didn't want to make this seem a political issue, because anyone who does this sort of thing, or abusive of women or children particularly, they should face the full brunt of the law.
Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manakchand.
Some 25 vegetable growers and extensionists are participating in a series of indoor and outdoor training exercises to prepare them to meet the requirements that would allow them to export fresh fruits and vegetables to the United States. Pooja Rambaran tells us more.
This 3-day grower-trainer workshop is being hosted by the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, ICA, with support from the United States Department of Agriculture Foreign Agricultural Service Program and funded by the U.S. Agency for International Development. It aims to promote the understanding of the Food Safety Modernization Act FSMA Produce Safety Rule. This is to increase competitiveness and the technical capacity of food safety professionals to comply with the requirements of the U.S.'s FSMA.
Today, Guyana's national policies are aligned with CARICOM Vision 25 by 2025. And we are talking about reducing the food import bill of CARICOM. And as the lead for agriculture in CARICOM, you know, His Excellency, our President, is leading that charge in CARICOM. We have been on the fast track to replace imported food and being a major regional exporter of food. So we want to replace the food that are coming in here because our food import bill is very high. It's between 6 to 8 billion US annually. And also we want to be a net exporter, not only for the Caribbean, but around the world.
That was Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa on Wednesday during the training's opening ceremony. He added that with these goals in mind, Guyana has no option but to rapidly improve the food control systems to fully meet regional and international standards. He further stated that while the government is steadfast in its efforts to ramp up production of several priority commodities, among which are fruits and vegetables, the ultimate goal is to reduce the country's dependence on extra-regional imports, while creating an environment for local exporters to be able to access international markets.
In 2022, Guyana exported to the U.S. a quantity of fruits, vegetables, and agro-processed products totaling 679,985 kilograms, with the total export for the first half. In 2022, the entire year, we would have exported to the United States 679,985 kilograms of fruits and vegetables. With the total export for the first half of 2023, we have already passed that. We have exported for the first half 744,424 kilograms. There have been an increase in demand for primary products and agro-processed products such as coconut and coconut water, fresh and frozen fruits, pineapples, mangoes, achar, and other things.
The training, which concludes on Friday, is being facilitated by professionals from Trinidad and Tobago, Costa Rica, and other staff from Guyana's office. Pooja Rembrandt for the Evening News.
Rose Hall Town is celebrating 53 years as a township. Andrew Carmichael reports that the former Dutch community was purchased by ex-slaves.
Considered the commercial capital of Region 6, East Berbice Quarantine, which has two other towns, Rose Hall Town, formerly known as Lot Number 9, was once owned by Dutch planters and later purchased by 57 former slaves in 1842. In 1908, it acquired a village status, and in 1970, on September 20th, it was declared a township. The town has a population of just over 8,000. On Wednesday, the municipality hosted a simple ceremony in observance of the township. The ceremony saw the participation of the business community, various organizations, and schools.
Vision of Rose Hall Town. Towards a model town comparable to the best in the world, where all its citizens live in peace, security, health, and highly motivated, and where fairness and justice prevail at all levels, and all our children feel free to dream and hope. The mission of Rose Hall Town is to always fostering the collaboration, cooperation, and goodwill of its citizens.
Several past employees of the municipality, along with businesses, senior citizens, and outstanding personalities, were honored as part of the anniversary celebrations. Mayor Dave Bidu is the 13th mayor to have served the town.
Today, Rose Hall Town is growing at a pace that was never seen before in its 53 years as a township. Some of the highlights are all major roads and cross streets, which were in a very bad situation, is now being completely rehabilitated and upgraded to offer better transportation for all residents, especially our sick and differently able population. No longer a walk in the mud street or refusing to leave your home to do basic everyday business for your family.
Mayor of New Amsterdam, Wainwright McIntosh, also attended the celebrations.
Unbroken service speaks of commitment to the citizens of Rose Hall Town. I like the fact that we would have engaged today our future leaders. Among us, we're seeing our future mayors, deputy mayors, attorney at laws, engineers, and the whole host of careers, which will definitely be steering Guyana in the rightful path as we are on the cosmos of development.
For the Evening News, Andrew Carmichael.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed to vehicular traffic on Saturday, September 23rd, 2023 at 23 hours 30 for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed at 10 hours on Saturday, September 23rd, 2023, also for a period of 1.5 hours.
Guyana among countries to host ICC T20 World Cup in June 2024. TKR ready for any opposition in CPL 2023 final, and President's Cup horse race set for Saturday. Details of these stories and more in this sportcast, sponsored by MacCorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhineville.